That's right, good, grown, and sexy vibes. We finna chill out, pull out that wine, show you guys how to do this amazing peach cobbler. Let's get into it. Finest wine in the building.
What's up, everybody? This is Fineaswine.
This is Finest Wine Cooking Channel. I hope you guys are enjoying your Friday. Welcome in, welcome in. Much love to everybody. Please hit that like and subscribe button if you haven't already. Share me out if you're able to. I want to welcome everybody. Mods, chat, A1 Day Ones. You already know what's up. So today, I've decided that I'm going to go ahead and make some peach cobbler homemade. And I've made it before on this channel, but I've never just, kind of walk you guys step by step and actually recorded the process. What you're seeing now is me just getting everything that we're going to need. First thing we're going to need definitely is peaches. You can't have peach cobbler if you don't have the peaches, right? Okay, so we need a prep bowl. We need that bowl to go ahead and put our dry ingredients in, starting with the flour. You gotta have the flour. That's what creates the batter, the crust. My whole thing on making the crust, I want to make sure it's nice and sweet, and it's not all dry. What you're gonna see, I'm gonna add about 2 cups of flour right now, and we're gonna follow it by all my other dry ingredients. It's gonna be good. I just love the way it tastes. And I'm gonna go ahead and fry up some fish and chicken too. I'm gonna make some sides with it. So before I do that, I decided to go ahead and make the peach cobbler. So we're gonna need some baking powder, about 2 teaspoonfuls of that, because you wanna make sure that dough rises, that crust rises when it's in that oven. That's gonna help it do that. Much love to B&B Reviews. If you guys haven't checked out the interview that I did with them maybe about 3 to 4 days ago, B&B reviews it on their YouTube channel. Please go like, share, and subscribe. So right now we're just getting all our ingredients together. I got my 2 cups of flour and my peaches. Right now I'm adding sugar. So you want to add about, this is granulated sugar, about maybe a cup full, yeah, I would say less than a cup, because it's not that much flour in here. You don't want it overpowering, but you do want it sweet. So go ahead and add that in there. And you know what I'm saying, today's news, Trump still bullshitting. He still haven't signed over our stimulus money, knowing that we need it. Senate then went on vacation, ain't coming back to September. So, you know what I'm saying? They just not making sure that we're straight in the world. This is crazy, Will I be voting for Trump? Absolutely not. Because yeah, he signed an executive order, but if you read the fine print on that executive order, it does not help us as a people at all. You know what I'm saying? And it's actually against us, because it's crazy. Please go and check out CNN and go and read in between the lines of that executive order, because it does not help us at all. Trump is full of shit, and I don't know what looked worse, or his face or that wig that he be wearing. Okay, so we're gonna need some cinnamon sugar, and we're gonna need some salt. So I say about a half a teaspoon of salt. Again, when you're baking, you want to make sure you always have that salt in there. We are gonna put the cinnamon sugar in there. Let's say about a tablespoonful, because you want your crust nice and sweet, and you want it to have flavor, be full of flavor. So, full of good flavor. So that cinnamon sugar, if you didn't see it when I first showed it, we're just gonna gather all our ingredients. But yeah, Trump, he on some BS, man. He needs to just keep running us those $1,200 stimulus checks so we can live our best life. We're gonna need some unsalted butter. That's a half a stick, because we're gonna put some melted butter inside of the batter just to give it that butter flavor. Another way that we're gonna give it butter flavor, we're gonna add some butter extract. There's vanilla extract, there's butter extract. If you go ahead in that section in the grocery store, you'll find it. But that'll give it the extra butter flavor that you want. Yeah, we're gonna add some more melted butter in the batter, but I want that butter flavor. I don't know about you, but I love that butter flavor and that sweetness. So yeah, y'all just take a chill pill, relax, pull up a chair, get a glass of wine as I take you guys into this dish. It's definitely bomb. You're gonna enjoy it. It definitely tastes better than it looks. Although it does look good. I don't like to toot my own horn, but woo woo, beep beep. Stay tuned. I'm finna add the rest of the ingredients. I appreciate everybody coming in, showing me some love. Y'all groove with me. About to play some old school music. Let's get into it.
Outstanding. Girl, you knock me out. Exciting. outstanding.
So outstanding, baby.
Girl, you knock me out.
Yes, I thoroughly enjoyed that. Man, I'm here to tell you. Okay, so at this point, we're going to add our wet ingredients to our dry ingredients and just stir it in. Make sure you get all the clumps out of there and make sure everything is incorporated correctly. All your sugars and your seasonings. I usually smell it. When you smell it and taste it, you can get a better vision of how you want it, and that's the best way to make sure it comes out correctly. Give it a good stir, and we make sure it's not thick, not real thick. Make sure, well, everybody is different. Some people like it thick, some people like the batter like kind of thin. I don't like it too thick, I like it smooth, so I'm creating a more smooth batter and taking my time with it. As you guys can see, I believe I've added everything that I need to. If there's anything extra I need, will let you know. Sometimes I had a habit of thinking I've got everything in there, and then be like, nah, you messed up, you didn't add this. Sometimes we are our worst critic. But as I'm looking at it, I don't think that I missed anything at this point. So yeah, it's coming together. That's the consistency that we want. Some of it is supposed to stick to the spoon, and not all of it is supposed to like slide off too. When it sticks to the spoon, you have it at the consistency that you want it. We must not forget, we got to go ahead and add our butter. Add 1 stick of butter in our baking dish, because we're going to just throw that in the oven, allow that to melt. That is the start of the peach cobbler. Make sure you got that butter down in there, and make sure it's melted, because you're going to put those peaches, once that butter is melted, you're going to put those peaches right in there. That helps with the flavor of the dish. But as far as this, if you guys are not from where I'm from like Chicago, so they had some recent looting going on, looting and destroying, like stealing and stuff. I just don't understand it. Very disappointed with the whole situation, because it was a situation where they said that a 15-year-old boy was shot and killed, right? First fact of the matter is, he was not killed, and he was not 15, according to what's reported in the news. I just want our people to come together and love on each other. What's all this hate? Where's that coming from? Now we're going to cook our peaches. We're going to add our peaches can by can. I have 3 cans here, and I'm going to begin to season my peaches. And make sure you give it that added flavor. Sometimes you can have the canned peaches where it's unsweet. Now we have our peaches on the stove. We can go ahead and let that come to a simmer, a boil, a nice boil. We're gonna let those ingredients incorporate. So make sure you have it on a low heat. Yeah, and you could go ahead and sample them if you want to make sure that they're at the taste that you want it. And if anybody in the chat, have some good recipes from their grandmama, their mama, their daddy, or grandpa, don't be afraid to go ahead and drop that down in the comments below. I love every idea, every different recipe that I know is good. Shoot. So drop them in the chat. That's right. At this point, just go ahead and add you some ice cream. You know how we do. Thanks so much for tuning in. I love everybody, and just appreciate the continued support. I'm shaking my head because this shit is so good. Oh my mama. Shit.